Today's celebration, which in the past was St. Martha's feast day, is now the feast day of Martha, Mary, and Lazarus. And there are two options for the gospel today. One is the profession of faith by Martha when Jesus comes to the tomb of Lazarus, her brother, and raises him from the dead. And the other one, which we just heard, is about Martha's complaint to Jesus about her sister Mary. Have you ever complained about one of your siblings to Jesus? Martha gets an unexpected answer from the Lord. Mary has chosen the better part, and it will not be taken from her. Martha was not expecting that response. The gospel asks us to reflect on the busyness of our lives and to look closely at what is our center, what is most important, or should I say, who is most important. We see the sisters caring for Jesus, a visitor who comes to their home and that of their brother Lazarus. Jesus was good friends with them, and we know that he often visited their home. Likewise, it was the same Lazarus who, when ill, Jesus was informed by Mary and Martha, "The one you love is sick." It was the same Martha who professed her faith in Jesus in the resurrection at the tomb of Lazarus when Jesus raised him from the dead. Many times we have heard an interpretation of this gospel to mean Mary represents religious people, perhaps a priest or a nun, who dedicate their lives to the Lord. And Martha, who is busy with the housework, represents Christians in the secular world. And that the religious have made the better choice. I will return to that idea in a moment. Martha, burdened with much serving, came to Jesus and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me by myself to do the serving? Tell her to help me." The Lord said to her in reply, "Martha, Martha, you are anxious and worried about many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, and it will not be taken from her." Martha is concerned with many things. Mary is concerned with only one thing, and Jesus takes note of that and praises her. Martha is worried and anxious. Mary is at peace. Martha is preoccupied with things. Mary is occupied with the Lord. What is the one thing necessary that Jesus is commending in Mary? That she has chosen to make Jesus the one she is centered on and to listen to his word. For Mary, Jesus is the center, and other things are external. Martha is worried and anxious. Of course, the visit of the Lord to their home was an important moment in their lives, but this causes Martha to worry and to become anxious. There's many things to get done. Of course, Martha was the one cleaning, preparing the meal for Jesus, and serving the meal to him. It is necessary to prepare a meal for family or visitors who come to your home. Jesus is not condemning those who clean and cook. I would assume Jesus was looking forward to the meal that Martha was preparing, for he had been at their home before. Jesus rather is pointing out that Mary, who has chosen to sit at the feet of the Lord, has chosen the one thing necessary in our lives. For if we have Jesus in the center, all other things that must get done take their proper place and don't replace that necessary center, our relationship with the Lord. I can remember once a bishop sharing in a meeting with his priests that in the morning he would get up, say his prayers, and do his daily meditation. He always did that first thing in the morning. He said that if you dedicate time at the beginning of the day to prayer, then during the day you have the time to get done all those necessary things. But if you start the day doing the necessary things, and they never seem to get done for lack of time, he said, at the end of the day, you won't have time for prayer. You will be tired. The bishop found that prayer gave him the wisdom to focus on what was really important. Prayer informed his work priorities, and that makes sense. And speaking of Mary and Martha working and sitting, one of my sisters in my family once said to me when she saw me cleaning while she was sitting in front of the TV, "This is just like Mary and Martha. You are busy doing the work, and I am sitting." Yes, she was sitting, but she was sitting watching TV. Watching TV is not the one necessary thing, and neither is sitting. What Jesus is saying is that if we place him first, all other things we do will make sense. But if he is not the center of our lives, then nothing we do makes sense. And to revisit the idea that the religious are like Mary and the lay people with family obligations are like Martha, let us consider the gospel applies to all people. And there are some religious who act more like Martha, and there are some mothers of family who act more like Mary. I am sure that St. Joseph was quite active in the carpenter shop in Nazareth. Otherwise, how would he have provided for his family? But amid his work, he was in the presence of the child Jesus. And this must have led his workshop to become a place of work and contemplation. Imagine each time looking up from his carpenter table and from the tools, he saw Jesus there helping him at work. Imagine if we had such an attitude with our work, no matter what we are called to do, that each time we enter into our work or look up from our workstation, we see Jesus present there, ready to help us. And guess what? He really is there if we had eyes to see. There's a pious story of a monk, a holy monk who lived many years ago. His job was to sweep the floors, the corridors of his monastery, which he did quite faithfully. One day when he was at work, a voice cried out, "Jesus has returned. It's the end of the world." The monk just kept sweeping the corridor. Everyone, lay and religious, are called to be like Mary, who sit at the feet of Jesus and place him at the center of their lives. And when our lives become more like Martha, and we become anxious and worried about the many things, all Christians need to stop and refocus and ask the Lord once again to dispel the worries that fill us up and to empty out the worries, and so become attentive to the Lord and invite Jesus once more to become the center of our lives. Everyone is called to be like Mary, for she has chosen the better part.